So when you hear the word blockchain, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably cryptocurrency, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, that kind of stuff. But what if its most powerful use case has nothing to do with money at all and everything to do with the food on your plate? Today, we're going to dive into how a company called VeriPura is using this tech to fix a massive real-world problem.
I mean, really think about it for a second. That coffee you had this morning, the fruit sitting in your kitchen, can you actually trace its journey? Sure, you might know the country it came from, maybe you even know the brand, but do you know the specific farm, the conditions it was shipped under, the exact day it was harvested? Probably not.
Now, for you and me, that's just kind of an interesting thought experiment. But for the massive companies that import and export goods all over the planet, not knowing the answers to those questions, well, that creates huge risks, insane costs, and weeks of delays. It's a fundamental breakdown in the global supply chain.
So let's really dig into just how broken the current system actually is, because the problem goes way deeper than you might think, and honestly, it all starts with a literal mountain of paperwork. 30. Just let that number sit for a second. That's roughly how many separate, really complex documents are needed for just a single food shipment to get from one country to another. In the industry, they call it the 30 documents problem, and it is a primary source of chaos. And in the real world, this chaos looks like a mess. You've got manual processes, actual paper documents being passed around, which leads to weeks, not days, but weeks of delays. And because there's no single reliable source of information, there's very little trust between the farmer, the shipper, and the buyer. This, of course, throws the door wide open for fraud and makes proving you're following regulations an absolute nightmare. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a huge, inefficient, paper-based system. But what if you could just replace that entire mess with something that's digital, totally secure, and practically instant? This is where this really cool idea of tokenizing trust comes into play. Just imagine, what if every single bag of coffee beans or every crate of avocados had its own unique, completely unforgeable digital passport, a passport that tracks its entire life story, from the exact moment it was picked all the way to the moment it lands in your local store. And that right there is the core idea behind supply chain tokenization. Now, it's not about turning a banana into a cryptocurrency. No, it's about creating a secure digital history, a chain of custody for the physical product. And here's the key part. It rewards the people who actually provide that honest, transparent data. Let's be super clear about this because it's important. VeriPura is not creating another speculative crypto coin for people to trade. What they're tokenizing is the data itself. The VERI tokens are basically a reward, an incentive for farmers and producers to provide that clean, verifiable information that makes the whole system work. Okay, so the concept is solid, a digital passport for our food. But how does the technology actually pull this off? Let's get into the mechanics of how this whole thing is built. The process is actually beautifully simple. First up, farmers upload key pieces of data about what they're growing. We're talking things like the precise GPS coordinates of their farm, any sustainability certifications they have, or even data from temperature sensors during transit. All that critical info gets recorded on the blockchain, which creates that unchangeable, tamper-proof history. And for doing that, for being transparent, the farmers get rewarded with tokens. Simple as that. Now, you might be wondering, couldn't you just do this with a normal database? And the answer is no, not really. This is where blockchain is absolutely essential. Its core feature is immutability. Once data is on there, it cannot be secretly changed. This creates a single source of truth that everyone in the chain can trust without needing some central authority. And that, in turn, unlocks unbelievable speed and allows you to finally automate that horrible 30 documents problem.
So, the system sounds great in theory, right? But what does all this newfound efficiency and trust actually look like in the real world? Well, the results are, to put it mildly, dramatic.
Let's put some real numbers to it. How does a system powered by blockchain actually stack up against the old, slow, manual way of doing things?
Okay, just look at this comparison. The difference in scale is just staggering. To trace a product all the way back to its origin, the old system takes about 7 days. With VeriPura, it takes 2 seconds. Verifying all that compliance paperwork, that goes from weeks down to a few seconds.
I mean, seriously? Let that sink in. A process that used to take an entire work week of phone calls, digging through filing cabinets, and chasing emails can now be done in literally the time it takes you to snap your fingers. This isn't just a small improvement. It's a complete reinvention of what's even possible.
And this incredible speed isn't just a party trick. It has a massive, immediate payoff for businesses. You see these complex new rules coming out, like the EU's deforestation regulation. For companies dealing with that, this is an absolute game changer. They suddenly have audit-ready, real-time data right there, letting them prove compliance instantly instead of scrambling for weeks on end.
This all sounds fantastic, but here's the big question. How does this actually work as a business? How does VeriPura make any money if they're just giving tokens away to farmers? The answer is actually really simple and incredibly sustainable. And what's so smart here is that their business model completely avoids all the speculative hype we see in a lot of crypto projects. They do not make money by selling their VERI tokens on an exchange to investors. Instead, they sell good old-fashioned business-to-business subscriptions to the companies, the importers, the distributors, the big retailers who are desperate for this kind of trusted, verified data. And you see, this is what makes the whole model so powerful. The value they create for the farmers with the tokens is ultimately paid for by the large companies who benefit from all that new transparency. It creates this perfect, self-sustaining ecosystem where the buyers of the service are the ones who need the data the most, the businesses who need to de-risk their supply chain and prove they're compliant.
So in the end, the success of a project like VeriPura isn't measured by the price of its token on a chart. It's measured by its real-world impact on efficiency and trust in one of the most important industries on Earth. And it leaves you with this really fascinating question. Once you've proven you can create a perfect, unforgeable digital history for a simple bag of coffee, what else could you apply this technology to? Think about it. Pharmaceuticals, luxury goods, critical minerals for our electronics. The potential to bring this kind of radical transparency to our incredibly complex world is really just beginning to be unlocked.